Yes, it is Health Diary. Thank you for making time. My name is Gladys Gachanja and we're coming to you from the Park Inn by Radisson here in Westlands. Now, we are all surrounded by children, whether our own or society's, but the question here is, do we have the skill set to preserve life in case of an accident? Our conversation today is pediatric first aid, and we get to that right after this fact of the matter. Pediatric first aid is the immediate care given to a child or an infant who has been injured or who has become ill prior to the arrival of qualified medical assistance. Statistics show that injuries and accidents are the leading cause of death in children aged between 1 and 14 years, and boys make up 2/3 of that number. Since not all people are well informed and well trained in terms of accurate first aid measures, relying on hearsay could aggravate the emergency. Basic first aid skills could save a life.
Ariel has been a peaceful baby all along, I thank God. So she had just woken up around 8. By 8:30, she was being served breakfast. She had just begun her weaning. Everything was okay. So the accident happened while she was asleep. So going to the bedroom, I found the baby was making some funny noise, like she was uneasy. She was like So I held the baby and I put her on my shoulder. Then I began to massage her chest from behind. When I returned the baby, I realized the eyes were rolling. And so somebody ran, grabbed the baby, and rushed to Avenue Greenspan. So it means things were not really good. At that time, she had already turned to blue. The tank was already black. Yeah, so Dr. Belinda, the staff there, they did their first aid. But they were saying at that moment, she must be in ICU immediately. And so by around when the ambulance was getting by this time, she's already in oxygen. So we are rushing to get Ruth Mudaiga.
So we went on day 1, day 2, she was not moving. Day 3, she started swelling. Then on around day 9, she started moving. That was the moment we felt joy in our hearts. By the time we were leaving, the bill was 1.7 million. So it is good for parents to attend basic first aid training. And once they know that, they can come and train their house managers, because the house managers or the house helps are the ones who stay with the baby most of the time while you are at work.
So they define pediatric first aid to be the immediate care given to a child or an infant who has been injured or who has been ill prior to the arrival of qualified medical assistance. The question here is, do we even know what to do in case of such a scenario? That's why we're having this conversation today. And to help me have that conversation with us, of course, is Alice Kibagendi. She is a parent and a founder of Amara Initiative. And we have Dr. Super Tunje, who is a pediatrician. Ladies, thank you for your time. Now, I'll start with you, Dr. Even as we read about the definition of what a pediatric first aid is, it sounds like something we should know, but we do not know, right? It's not obvious to all of us, yeah? So exactly what are we looking at here?
So pediatric first aid is defined into different sections. We have the basic first aid, we have life support, and then we have advanced pediatric life support. In a home setup or in the scene of an accident, what we should be able to know is the basic first aid that we can offer to a child who has been involved in any incident or an accident. And this is the first care or intervention that is offered by any person that is around that child at the time of happening of that incident. So the immediate attention that you'll give to the child.
Okay, Alice, just listening to that, you know, this touches home because you have walked this walk and you know the importance of having these skills. You had an incident with your child choking. What did they choke on?
My daughter Amara was being fed on a meal of mashed potatoes, and it had been mixed with milk, so it was smooth. Yeah, so it was mashed potatoes that she was being fed on.
Okay, and she was being fed by the help?
She was being fed by the help.
All right, so I would assume at this point the help did not know what to do when she choked.
Yes, that was very clear to me when I spoke to the help, and in many other instances where I've spoken to moms or nannies or families who have gone through similar experiences, there's always a resounding, I did not know what to do.
Okay, and I guess at this point we can say that's how Amara Initiative was actually born, just to ensure that no other mother has to go through this, right?
It's true. In 2012, when that happened, I thought to myself, what is this gap that everybody is talking about? I didn't know what to do. And in fact, I challenged myself because I asked myself, if I was home when that incident happened to my daughter, would things have turned out differently? And just as you said in the definition of basic first aid, it is what you do on your way to get professional help. So, and those minutes are very critical. I think in the industry they say it takes 6 minutes to lose a child's life when they choke. And you know, also the statistics tell us that 8 out of 10 parents do not know basic first aid.
Choking, what do you do?
First of all, ensure that whatever you're going to do to the child is to save the life and also not to worsen the condition. I'll demonstrate that using this baby swallow. So if baby swallow is 6 months, I assume, and was being fed, first of all, you're looking at the signs. Is it choking and life-threatening or not? At that particular time, you want to see whether there's any breathing. If there is some breathing, the baby may be able to start coughing. So they'll cough out or they will run out of breath. And in a worst case scenario, the baby may lie flat, unable to breathe at all. So the first thing is to see what are the signs. If baby is coughing or crying, there could be some minimal airway that is open. So the first thing is to look. If you can see any object that is causing the obstruction, you can remove. If none, the next thing is to position. So position the baby, let them lie on their tummy, and you can support that using your left hand, but keeping the airway open by tilting a little bit. Okay, so that opens the airway. If the head drops this way, it will continue to obstruct. If you put it too tilted, again, that causes some compression on your vessels. So the first thing is to position that, and once you have positioned, if the object is near, it may fall off immediately. But if baby is still not breathing, you're going to give some 5 blows, and you check the position in between the shoulder blades. Then using this stump of your palm, then you're going to give some 5 blows. Again, not too much pressure based on the age of, because otherwise you may break the ribs. So you're going to do 5 blows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then turn the baby and see. Again, when you turn that, making sure that is the airway is open. If there's something that you can see, remove. If that you don't see any object coming out and baby still not breathing, you can turn that again and do the same. For an older child who is able to stand, then you can do the other position. So in this position for the little child, then you can place in that position. Look at that. So you place your hand right below the ribs and apply pressure inwards and upwards. So inwards, upwards, inwards, upwards. You can do that 5 times and see if there's any object, then let it come out. For all the children who have had a choking episode, they need to rush to the hospital so that to ensure that everything is okay.
Alice, now your household, does everyone know how to do basic first aid?
Yes, everyone in my household knows how to do basic first aid, and that includes every nanny. Luckily, with my second born, I've had one nanny throughout, and because of Amara Initiative, I'm constantly, can I say, vigilant on safety matters. even if it's water, even if it's feeding. I know now my daughter is 4.5, but I'm still that careful.
Ingesting poisons. We have kids that are all over the place. They touch curiosity, they put something in their mouth. It's not good for them. We've had different ways of dealing with it. Mpatie maziwa, do this. What is the correct thing to do?
From the age of 1 year, you expect a child is able to move around, because that is when they start to walk. And as they grow taller, they are able to open cabinets. They can open the door and access whatever you have locked. They can pull the drawers. From the age of 1.5 years, they can pull. Therefore, it means whatever you're putting in that drawer needs to be locked, because at that particular age, they are exploring their environment. Now, when it comes to ingestion, the principles remain the same, making sure that the child is able to breathe. Then the next thing is, some of the poisons could cause vomiting, and others could even lead to diarrhea. And in other kind of poisons, like paraffin poisoning, it will give you breathing difficulties. So, which means then if the child has ingested a lot, they may start to breathe very fast. And at that particular time, it is not you. If you give something to ingest, it may worsen the absorption of that. So we do have certain antidotes that could be available, and antidote meaning that it's a chemical that you can give to counter the effect of that. But not all of them may be available in home states. However, sometimes milk may help, but it does not. It is not useful in many kinds of the poisoning. So what is advised is making sure that you remove all the clothes first of all. Why you need to remove the clothes is because if that chemical remains on the cloth, it continues to be absorbed into the body, and absorption would come through inhalation and also contacting the skin. And then after that, you can wash off the body and to eliminate that chemical from the body. Then after that, now you look at the other things. The airway is discharge breathing. If not breathing, we do the same thing. You can give rescue breath for the one who is unable to breathe at that time. But that is now advanced support at that particular time for poisoning.
Okay, at that point, we take our first short break on Health Diary. When we come back, a lot more of accident scenarios within the home that have to do with children. Remember, the conversation is pediatric first aid right after this break.
Do your gums hurt?
Yeah.
Does your toothpaste contain sage, eucalyptus, myrrh, chamomile?
All that in one toothpaste?
Yes, try Colgate Herbal. Colgate Herbal contains nature's best herbs and Colgate's fluoride technology to give you strong teeth and healthy gums.
Ah, Colgate Herbal.
Let's go. Colgate Herbal for strong teeth and healthy gums naturally.
This is NTV.
Na barabara kabisa popote pale ulipo, natumai kwamba umeshinda salama salmin. Karibu kwa yale tunakuandalia ndani ya taarifa zetu za NTV jioni.
There is concern about whether schools have the facilities, the wherewithal, the personnel to ensure that these things are put in place.
Wakenya wengi hawataki ufunguzi wa shule uharakishwe, lakini wanataka maeneo ya ibada yafunguliwe.
Deaths due to NCDs are projected to rise to 55%.
Uchunguzi wa kupotea kwa vifaa vya kupima virusi vya corona waanzishwa, huku wimbi la maambukizi likizagaa.
There was a big harassment of wildlife. Now that is gone. There is no tourist. There is no vehicle in the mara. So the animal is roaming, is having a field day.
Ni balaa kwa wanadamu, lakini homa ya korona ni faraja kubwa kwa mazingira na wanyamapori.
Waiguru ni governor na Raila ni kiongozi ya nchi, wakikutana shida iko wapi?
Na Junet haoni shida Waiguru kukutana na kinara wake, lakini Raila kanusha taarifa ya kukutana naye. Na mtazamaji, basi ni kionjo tu. Kwa marefu na mapana, usikose kuungana nami katika taarifa kemkem za NTV jioni itakapofika saa 1 saa za Afrika Mashariki. Nami Jane Ngwiri.
Blueband margarine. New look, same great taste.
Explorers of the night, wale wase wa kuhustle usiku, kustreama movies, music mix diehards and gaming fanatics. We've heard you. It is now your time to fly your flag high. Do what you love, mpaka che na Telkom. Join Usiku Sako with Telkom night bundles that allow you rule the night at prices you love. Join our tribe, Usiku Sako Squad. Just dial *544# from your Telkom line and select the night bundle of your dreams. You are the legend the night needs.
Ongezea chwani ama usite.
Sasa watu wataona aje unanishika hivyo mbele ya watu?
Hata kama ni nini tunaenda.
Anthony, kabla ni game mkutano ya PTA, kuna kitu umefanya shule? Niambie nikae nikijua nisiende kujaibisha. Hujafanya kitu yote, ulikuja namba ngapi? Wacha mambo ya namba, kama ulianguka tutajua tu. Na nakwambia, angalia. Nywele tulisema hatunyoi ni ya familia. Tuition nilisema silipi, niambie nijue. Kuna kitu? Haya basi, sijakubebea kitu lakini nikitoka tutaongea.
This Sunday on Churchill Show,
I got into singing. Just immediately I got into theater.
we feature a story of passion, perseverance, and what it takes to build a brand.
What has the bed got to do with it? Because I'm here thinking, hiyo kitanda inaingilia wapi?
Madam, you can even find a dancing to Chronics. Uko tu hapo tu kwa Chronics. Sasa ngano wacha ngo. Huyu mtu anasema
This is the story of Jackie Nyaminde, Will Brother.
Kondoro mwalo, kondoro kondoro.
Tunakanya.
Saa hizi kupimwa HIV ni haraka na ni bure. Unaweza pimwa kwa clinic na bado unaweza jipimia kwa nyumba yako wewe mwenyewe na self test kit 500 peke yake. Uko na HIV si eti ni mwisho.
Wewe uko nayo?
Mimi nilishapima.
Afya bora, maisha
Welcome back to Health Diary, our conversation, pediatric first aid, and clearly just from what we're learning today, there's some things we've been trying to do or have been doing or think we know what to do in case of an emergency, but these would actually aggravate the situation further. So to help us have that conversation again, Alice Kibagandi and of course Dr. Super taking us through this and some of other common accidents within the house with the children that are trying to explore their world is the burns and scalds. You know, could be from hot water, tea, pulling, maybe the porridge they were supposed to be fed in is what now burnt them. What do you do in such cases? And Amara, in your case, have you ever had to deal with that with a child in the house?
Yes, not in my house, but I think because of Amara Initiative, people are always telling me these kinds of things. But I'm sorry, just before I answer you, there's something I wanted to add on poisoning. That when you do take this child to hospital, remember to carry whatever content is remaining, because sometimes you get to the hospital, the child has been poisoned and the attendants don't know what the child ingested. So carry a bit of whatever it is that if it remained in the bottle, or at least in the correct bottle, so that it can show the contents. You are talking about burns. And yes, I do receive those kinds of cases, but I think there's a very big misconception about first aid around burns.
Yes.
When people talk about, or when there's a burn, Make sure you pour flour on that area. Make sure you put oil or something. So I think why I'm enjoying this conversation is because she's really telling us what you should do and what you should not do.
All right, so what do we do in case of a burn?
A burn or the scalds from whatever source, could be dry heat or it's wet heat, like in hot water. Again, most of the time in the home setup, it will be the wet sources of heat. And in that case, depending on the extent of the burn surface, it will guide you whether you're going to rush immediately. But now, before you rush immediately to the hospital, the first thing is ensure that the environment is safe. Because if it's from some dry heat, like it's electric, then if you try to approach immediately without switching off your sources, then you may cause a danger to get further burns. So first of all is to make sure that your source is stopped. Then after you ensure the environment is okay, remove that child away from that source. The next thing is get some water and run. So you can run whatever surface is involved, run it through water. Warm water will be good. Cold water, no.
Oh,
because
really?
Cold water will then, because some people think iced water would cool it faster. No, you don't want to cool that temperature, because what happens with burns, you're likely to lose heat into the environment if your skin has come off. So you don't go further by cooling that surface, because you lose heat more. Then after that, if you have, there's this some film, cling film that we have in the kitchen, yes. You can use that to wrap around. The whole idea is to maintain heat. If you do not have the cling film, you can use any other, if it's a blanket, a lighter blanket, to cover the person. If it is extensive, you need to cover the areas that have been involved, making sure that the person does not lose heat from their body. However, if any clothing is stuck to the skin, do not attempt to remove. So remove what is loose out of the skin. Whatever is stuck to the skin, you leave it there. Because if you remove, you might come off with the skin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now, for broken bones due to falls or impact injury, I mean, anyone who's a parent, they know they deal with this on a regular. Either the child fell, the child was hit. Yeah. How do you handle this? Because, of course, different injuries, different attention, but what are the basics?
The most important bone that you need to take care of is your skull bone and also the spine. If you have there's been injury, make sure you're not moving this child round and round, trying to do whatever maneuver. So you can support the neck and put it, and make sure that the spine is aligning. So once you support that, the importance of supporting that neck is to align the spine so that then you do not cause further damage, especially to the nerves. So you support that, then you can call for help. For other limbs, again, you could support. You can get same cloth, put it side, and you can wrap. Making sure that it's not tight.
Yeah.
Because if it's tight, then it obstructs circulation.
Yeah.
And that will not be good for the child. So if you have this bone that is broken, you can even use a cardboard, fold it, or hard paper, support on that side, support on this other side, and then take a bandage. If you do not have a bandage, you can have any fabric and tie it around. Supporting the limb is very important one, because you want to prevent blood loss around that broken limb.
Now, for impact injuries, we're talking about a child was walking, they were hit by a door and all that, it's swollen. Some will tell you put some ice on it, others will say warm water, massage it. Which is which?
Impact from blunt objects will immediately cause some swelling. So first thing to see is, where is the swelling? One, if you're having a swelling around the eye, for example, if the injury is bigger than just surface on the skin, you will see some changes, including some redness of the eye. So when you say redness of the eye, it means that you have damaged even the vessels in the eye. So that's serious injury. It must be attended to. However, if you find just a bump without skin changes and it just swells at once and it's not increasing in size, usually it's just the swelling in the initial impact. Now with that, you can apply because that swelling gives you warmth. So a cool surface, again, not iced. Ice is good for pressure and to reduce the pressure. But if you put it immediately, then it causes just sudden change in the temperature, and that may not be good. So if it's cool surface, you can get a damp cloth, cool, place it there. One, it will reduce the swelling and even reduce further swelling, and also for pain relief. But then after that, you can have pain relievers in form of a gel. You can also give pain reliever like paracetamol, which is commonly accessible in our homes. So immediately you can give that just to relieve the pain.
How do you now, or what have you come across through your initiative in as far as myths and misconceptions around first aid?
Yeah, through our initiative, I've come to learn there are very many myths and misconceptions about first aid. And I would not want to just dismiss even traditional medicine and all that, because it works. It works sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes without your knowledge, you could actually be making matters worse. And also, in the traditional setup, and sometimes when you have the girls that you have in the home, there are things that they want to use to do basic first aid, which are not readily available in your house. So I think it's up to us as a community, as a society, to get the information and to get it right. Because you don't want to come to a day where you're telling us a story of what was done that made matters worse.
Join us next Saturday for part 2 of the pediatric first aid conversation as we learn more from Alice Kibagendi, a parent and founder of Amara Initiative, and Dr. Super Tunje, a pediatrician.
If you see a sign saying do not dive, please do not dive, because it probably means that the depth of the swimming pool is not adequate for diving. So when you're diving, you want to put your legs together. If you're a beginner, put your legs together and then go down slightly into a squat. Put your hands just in front of your legs and then spring up. And then the first point of entry should be your hands. Your hands go in, then follow your head, and then the rest of your body. And then you want to dive, like you want to get in and out as soon as you get into the water. So dive in, and as soon as your head hits the water, your purpose is to exit or break the surface of the water. So don't just dive deep down and then go all the way down into the tiles. That could be dangerous. So, and if you're not confident in your diving, please don't dive. Just get into the water, either use the ladder, jump in, or walk into the swimming pool nicely, because it can be a hazard.
I must say it has been a very informative episode of Health Diary. Thank you for the questions and the comments coming through on our social media handles. My name is Gladys Gachanja, and we're coming to you from the park in Radisson here in Westlands. Until next time, take care.